Hi guys, welcome back. Today we are going to learn to solve one-step equations. We've got 3 success criteria, and the first one is to understand what solving equations actually means. So an equation is a statement that says two expressions are equivalent, and it should always have an equal sign. In maths, solve means find the value of an unknown, so this is usually a letter or letters in an equation. To solve an equation, we use inverse operations. Inverse is just another word for opposite. So the inverse of addition is subtraction. The inverse of subtraction is addition. The inverse of multiplication is division. The inverse of division is multiplication. And the inverse of squaring something is to square root it. So now we've completed success criteria 1, so we'll move on to number 2, and this is to solve one-step equations with positive integer solutions. So if we want to solve x plus 4 equals 10, you need to think about what number x represents. So what number, when you add 4 to it, would make 10? Now you can probably solve this in your head, but today we are going to look at the inverse method, as this will help us solve harder equations. So if we want to solve this equation, we do the inverse of adding 4, which is taken away 4. So we do 10 take away 4. So the answer is x equals 6. Again, if we want to solve this equation, 6b equals 60. This means we want to find out what number, when we times it by 6, makes 60. Again, you can probably do this in your head, but if we use inverse operations, it'll help us to solve harder equations. So the inverse of timesing something by 6 is to divide it by 6, which means b equals 10. If we want to solve this one, we've got 2 equals a minus 5. So what number, when we take away 5, makes 2? So again, we can do the inverse of taking away 5, which is to add 5. So if we do 2 plus 5, we get 7. So 7 equals a. It doesn't matter which way round we write it, it'll still be the same. This equation, we've got y over 5 equals 20. Remember, y over 5 means y divided by 5. So what number, when we divide it by 5, makes 20? So think about what the opposite of dividing by 5 would be, and that would be to multiply by 5. So we do 20 times 5, which is 100. So y equals 100. Again, for this question, we want to solve x squared equals 16. So what number, when we square it, when we times it by itself, makes 16? So if we do the inverse of squaring something, which is to square root it, so the square root of 16, we get x equals 4. In this question, we've got 15 over x equals 3. Remember, 15 over x means 15 divided by x. When the letter is on the bottom of the fraction, we can just simply swap around the bottom of the fraction with what the equation equals. So we swap around the x and the 3. So we get 15 divided by 3 will equal x. And 15 divided by 3 is 5. So we can write 5 equals x, or x equals 5. Here's a question for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to see what you should have done, press play. So for this question, we need to think about 40 divided by what number would make 10. So if we swap around the C and 10, we can do 40 divided by 10, and that will give us the answer, which is 4. 40 divided by 10 is 4. So 4 equals C, or C equals 4. Here's some questions for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to mark your work, press play. Here are your answers. So there's your green answers, your amber answers, your red answers, and your purple answers. Your green answers made lizard, your amber answers made oasis, your red answers made camel, and the purple answers made cactus. And now we've completed success criteria 2. So now we can move on to number 3, and this is to solve one-step equations with decimal, fractional, or negative solutions. So this time we've got x plus 12 equals 5. So if we do the inverse of adding 12, which is to take away 12, and do 5 take away 12, so think of the number line to help you do 5 take away 12, because it'll go into the negatives, we get x equals minus 7. In this one, we've got 2x equals 9. Remember, 2x means 2 times x. So instead of times them by 2, we can do the opposite. We divide by 2, and 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. So x equals 4.5. Remember, you can give your answer as a fraction or a decimal. So as a fraction, we can write it as 9 over 2, or 4.5. For this one, we've got 5x equals 9. So 5 times something equals 9. So we can divide by 5 to get the answer. And 9 divided by 5, we can just leave as 9 over 5. So you can always just leave your answer as an improper fraction. So x equals 9 over 5. If the question doesn't ask for the answer as a decimal, you can just leave it as a fraction. You won't get any marks for converting it. For this question, x squared equals 10.24. So we do the opposite of squaring something, which is to square root it. So we do the square root of 10.24, which we're going to need a calculator for. So x equals 3.2. If you do the square root of 10.24, you should get 3.2. In this one, it says solve 21 over x equals 5, giving your answer as a decimal. So when x is on the bottom of the fraction, we can just swap x and 5 round. So x is 21 over 5. And we can use the bus stop method to do that if you can't do it in your head. So 21 divided by 5 is 4.2. So 4.2 equals x. Here's a question for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to see what you should have done, press play. So for this question, we want to solve minus 3.6 equals x take away 8.2. So we do the opposite of taking away 8.2, which would be to add 8.2. So we can do minus 3.6 plus 8.2, which is 4.6. So x equals 4.6. Here's another one for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to see what you should have done, press play. So for this one, we've got y over 3.7 equals 2. Remember, y over 3.7 means y divided by 3.7. So we do the opposite of dividing by 3.7, which is times by 3.7. So 2 times 3.7 is 7.4. So y equals 7.4. Here's another question for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to see what you should have done, press play. So for this one, we want to solve 67 over y equals 10. So 67 over y means 67 divided by y equals 10. So again, we can swap around the y and the 10. Remember, when the letter's on the bottom of the fraction, just swap it around with whatever it equals. So y equals 67 over 10. So we can just leave our answer like that, as y equals 67 over 10. Or, if we wanted to write it as a decimal, we can write it as y equals 6.7. Here's some questions for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to mark your work, press play. Here are your answers. So there's your green answers, your amber answers, your red answers, and your purple answers. And the greens made donkey, the ambers made tractor, the reds made farmer, and the purples made goose. And now we've completed success criteria 3. So now that we've completed the last objective, it's time to end the video. Hope you enjoyed it and I hope you found it useful. Make sure to like and subscribe, and be sure to check out the other videos on the rest of the channel. I'll see you next time. See ya.